I'm just going to make a short video on the patience of practice. The reason why I'm doing this, I was just doing some skipping myself, and I thought to myself, I can do this for hours and hours and hours and not get bored. I just enjoy the process. A lot of people don't really have that attitude, and they try and do something, and within maybe 10 minutes, an hour, a week, they're bored and they've given up on what they're doing. So I just want to go through a few little bits that are in my mind and how I go about it. And as always, none of this information is really to take too seriously. This is just what's worked for me over the years, and if it would help you, it's worked on many clients that I've had, many people that I've trained over the years. The way I do it kind of rubs off on people. One thing I would start with is that for me, fortunately, the work that I do, I'm in one of those jobs where people kind of want to be what I do. So they would like to know about how to eat, they would like to know about exercise, they would like to be able to spend their days perceived sort of around a healthy environment. A lot of people don't have that opportunity. Now for me, I've spent hundreds of hours, thousands of hours around people who are really, really successful in life at things that I could never be successful at, but I would probably be equally as successful at maybe eating well or exercising, whereas they might have applied their time to, say, to business. Some of my clients, when I talk to them, the one thing they have in common is they apply time to what they wanted to do. So maybe they're retired and they're multi-millionaire, whatever they are, but if you ask them, they would have got up at 5 o'clock and I didn't get to bed till 9 o'clock for 15 years, and I did that. And if you go to someone and ask them, they're going to tell you that's unhealthy. Now, that kind of makes sense, but if someone's so successful, how unhealthy is that? You have to place yourself on like a continuum of where you want to get out of each thing that you do. So for me, with the training, I started when I was like 14 years old, and I kind of surrounded myself with some amazing people, some people that knew a lot more than me. And it was never a chore. When the lads were going to the gym, it was fun. It was never hard work, you know. It didn't matter what we were training, we'd meet up and we'd train. It's been like that for 20 odd years. It's never been hard work. I'll train twice a day. Is that bad for you? Maybe, possibly, but it's good for my soul, it's good for my mind. I really enjoy it. So the way I look at the way I've got good at stuff is simply because it's the one thing in my life that I can really apply myself to. So if you're what I would call just like a normal person in normal day life, and you're looking at someone like myself from the outset, or anyone in the fitness industry, and you're looking, think, well, it's all right for you. You can skip, you can weightlift, you can walk on your hands, you can eat well, you know what you're doing. That's absolutely fine. I absolutely appreciate that, I really do. But I would look at some other people and think, well, maybe I wish that I could speak Spanish or play the piano, but I never really put the time into that, and that's my choice. And so when I come to analyse what I'm doing, I'm not overly disappointed by not being that good at stuff. So I just kind of think to myself, well, this is the one thing that I do, so I'll go hard at it. Now, with regards to how a good mindset would be for somebody that isn't in the industry, I would say that the best thing to do is you start out, and I always explain this to my clients, you kind of have a bag of tricks. So maybe your bag of tricks for exercise would be you can run, you can leg press, you can dumbbell curl, and you can something else. So you can ride a bike. Now you look at that and you've been doing that for 10 years and you're quite bored. So you want to add a few more skills to your bag. So you've got this bag of tricks, it's pretty empty. So I'm going to say let's start with skipping, because skipping is what I've been doing. So what I would do, I'd dedicate my time towards a lot of skipping. I would keep the other things that I'm quite good at already because they make me feel good. And the skipping I would take with a pinch of salt, almost, to the fact that I wouldn't actually get too worked up, just enjoy the process. Every time you skip, take 2 or 3 big breaths and go again. Don't throw your rope on the floor, don't throw it at the wall. We've all been there, people that know me, we've all been there. So you take this skill, maybe you give it 4 to 6 weeks and do progressions, small progressions. Get someone to teach you, get someone that knows how to do it to show you how to do it. Don't just take it on yourself. A lot of people are so stubborn, find this, that they think that you've got to know everything yourself, and you really haven't. The best way of learning how to do something is sharing information, and there'll be loads and loads of people out there who will share information with you. I'm one of them for sure. So when it comes to things like skipping, so I would learn the mechanics first. So the CrossFit way would always be mechanics, consistency, intensity. And what a lot of people do, they have a look on YouTube and then they go hell for leather. So say an example would be in skipping, you'd want to do a double under, but you can't actually you're not very rhythmical at the single under. So we want to spend a lot of time getting the rhythm of the single under, yeah? And like days and days and days. So what a lot of people end up doing, they do a few hours of single unders and then they go, right, I'm going to do a double under. They go straight into one double under and they get one double under. And they feel like they're on a big progress. Now they haven't really got the rhythm of skipping. So when they try and link these double unders together, it doesn't really progress anything. So if it doesn't progress anything, they kind of get demotivated by it because they haven't really got the basics right. And I hope that makes sense to you, because what I'm basically saying is that you've got to break it down into simple steps, and then after these 3 or 4 weeks of doing it into simple steps, you become quite good at it. You might get 10 double unders linked, you might get 15, you might go backwards, and overnight or over a week you might get 2 or 3, and there'll be times where you go forward and backwards, and you've got to appreciate that progression isn't linear. It kind of comes from learning what's right and learning what doesn't work and what does work. So then maybe at the end of the 4 or 5 weeks you actually become quite good at it, quite fluid at it, and if you do, that's brilliant. With that new trick then goes into our bag of tricks, and 4 or 5 weeks later, so what we do, we bring out another exercise. So maybe it could be a handstand or something of that nature. So we start working on that progressively. We don't just try and walk on our hands straight away, we do the progress. Maybe one day you'll get 3 steps on your hand by accident, and all of a sudden you think you're professional, so every time you come in you're trying 3 steps, but that won't work because you haven't sussed the fundamentals. Now all at this time we've still got the skipping, so that's going in with our leg press, our run and all that lot. We keep good at it, we keep fluid at it, we keep it interested, we don't let that go. We don't do it too often, but we keep interested. And our next 4 to 6 week block is our handstand, and we keep working on that. We get through our 4 to 6 week block and we become fluid at it, and then that can go in our bag of tricks. And then over sort of 6 to 8, 10 months, a year, these little skills add up, and the skills that we've learned, we can start putting them into our workouts regularly. We don't have to be doing them every day, we just have to keep our interest. And then if we do want to step it up a little bit, say we want to get better at our handstand walk, we just give a little bit more time to that, and that's brilliant. Now, looking at pitfalls of progression, I would say one of the big things is lack of technique, so lack of mechanics, lack of consistency, but adding too much intensity early on. So I'm going to take Olympic weightlifting, something that I know well. I've missed many reps, millions and millions of reps. I mean, I'm okay at weightlifting, I'm not great at weightlifting. Some of the people that I've surrounded myself with are a lot better than me. I just stand there and watch, and round of applause really. Now, if I can clean 100 kilos, for example, and it's sort of 20% hit rate, and I keep doing 20% hit rate, and I'm hitting 1 out of 5, yeah, my consistency to my mechanics are going to be pretty bad. My nervous system isn't really going to be recognising good movement. Now, if I drop down the weight to about 80%, and we start hitting 80 kilos and we start hitting regularly, we start thinking about the mechanics of the movement, with the mechanics then become consistent, and then we can start adding intensity to that 80 kilos, and then progression becomes good. What a lot of people will do, they might hit 100 kilo once and think, right, that's it, next time I've got to hit 101, next time I've got to hit 102, 103, and so on and so forth. And this is such a flawed mentality, but it's very common. We want to be looking at, for progression, it's simply about consistency. It's not about winning straight away, it's about doing it over a long period of time. And if we can think about that, rather than today I'm going to get a PB, today I'm going to get a PB could come that you did 5 at 80%. That's a PB if only before you've done 3 at 80%. Weight doesn't have to be the determining factor. Like for me, today skipping, I've done an hour, pretty much. I've done about 5 successful moves. They'll go on Instagram later, everyone will see that. I'll get a few messages, people be like, oh well done, I wish I could do that. What they don't wish they could do is an hour in the tennis court falling over the skipping rope because they don't have the patience. So you really have to get your mindset that most of it is going to be kind of failure to progress. And as you fail, don't get angry, sit there and recognise how you failed, record yourself, get someone to give you feedback, and that is the way that we are actually going to progress quicker, by stepping back on the intensity. Intensity comes at the end. Yeah, maybe at the end of each workout, maybe 2 minutes of intensity, whether it be skipping, handstands, or you can apply this to your food, you can apply it to everything you do. If you try and overhaul your diet in one day, you're going to fail. But if you start by drinking 2 litres of water and having a bit more veg for a couple of weeks, over the weeks it's going to start compounding, and it's going to become easy, and you become consistent at it. And that's the way that we're going to improve progressively, because this is a time now where we've got a bit of time in our hands, and a lot of people I'm speaking to, I want to learn a new skill. 2 days in, I can't do it, I've given up. I speak to them at the end of the week, oh, I haven't tried it since I fell over, I haven't tried it since I tripped on the skipping rope. And that isn't the mindset. The mindset is, I practice, I go a little bit I do a little bit more consistently. I look at my mechanics of the movement and I just keep adding to it like that. It's really, really basic, but and as in everything, it's the basic that count. It's the basics that count. So really, really stick to the basics and don't rush what you're doing.